is it that you should eliminate certain foods? Is it because they're inflammatory? Yeah, maybe. Or is it because your body might be misinterpreting what the food molecules actually are? Hey there, I am Allison Samon, your functional nutritionist. And if you're new here, welcome to this growing community of people like you who are wanting to get rid of their painful symptoms for good. And so in today's video, we're talking about food sensitivities. What are they? What do they do? And what can you do about them? Now let's dive in. Do you have a favorite food that you just have to have or can't stop eating? Do you ever feel bloated or tired or just drained all of the time? Do you feel headaches? There are so many symptoms that can actually be related to food sensitivities, and they may be a sign of a food addiction or a food intolerance. And so, if you're thinking, okay, what's the big deal? Then you should know that it only takes one food to wreak havoc on your health and affect your ability to maintain a healthy weight, have a healthy functioning immune system, have a fully functioning brain, and so much more. We don't realize how much the food that we put in our body, even otherwise healthy food, can actually affect us negatively. And you're thinking, oh, Allie, come on. I'm doing all of the diets, I'm following all of the things. And if you can say that is true for you, and yet your symptoms are not clearing up, I'm here to tell you, you may have some food sensitivities. And it's important to know what are specific to you because sometimes it's the most popular allergenic foods, which would be your gluten, dairy, sugar, nuts, soy, fish. And so oftentimes those are the most inflammatory foods. So people can be allergic to them. There are different kinds of allergies. So if you are having your face blows up, your throat swells shut, you get an immediate redness or rash, that can be an IgE allergy. That is different than a food sensitivity. And so when we're talking about eliminating certain foods, all of those allergenic foods might be okay for you. Listen up. Many times, the foods that we think we love the most are actually the foods that our bodies have a sensitivity to and that are actually behind all of the painful symptoms. And we're actually feeling more tired. It's affecting our mood because when we eat a food to which we have a sensitivity to, what happens is it causes an inflammatory response in the body and then floods your body with hormones. And it's that hormonal cascade to mitigate the inflammatory response from these foods that your immune system has tagged as other. It sees them as a germ, a pathogen, a virus, something that doesn't belong. How does that happen? Well, it could be that you have a leaky gut situation. If you have intestinal permeability, then the proteins from undigested food leak out into the bloodstream where they don't belong. And that's when your immune system sounds the alarms. Intruder, intruder, intruder. And so it will act fast, create an immune response. This is a good one because we want to kill the pathogen, kill the virus. And so it sends in all the armed forces. IgG is one of the antibodies that will destroy the antigen. However, if it's a food that you need to have, want to have, let's say it's strawberries, let's say it's broccoli, let's say it's turmeric. So things that are otherwise healthy, good fiber, good antioxidants, good anti-inflammatory, but they came in with an unsavory suspect. So let's say it was a genetically modified food. Let's say that it was a lot of refined foods. Let's say it was anything that is more acidic and has led to an intestinal permeability situation, a leaky gut situation. Came in there, it got tagged, it was guilty by association. And so now every time you eat that food, antibodies are being thrown against those foods, causing an inflammatory response and the hormonal cascade. And it's when we have that hormonal cascade that your body becomes addicted to that food. It could be a hormonal response that says, oh, I want more of that, which can also keep us from the result that we actually want, which is to have a body that moves really well, that's pain-free, we're at our ideal weight, we have lots of energy, we're sleeping really well, our brain's on point, right? So instead, we're feeling tired and we're having just a cascade of other symptoms because of this hormonal cascade that happened because of an inflammatory response that happened because we ate a certain food. These certain foods may not be on the XYZ diagnosis protocol because IgG sensitivities can be personalized. The therapeutic diets like AIP, for instance, paleo diet, they are great. They are a great initial starting place because it gives you, okay, we're going to take out all of these inflammatory foods. We're going to take out all of these foods that are hard to digest. But we're only supposed to do that for 6 weeks. I can't tell you how many clients I work with who have been on that diet for 2 years, 6 years. And their diet is very, very narrow. They're eating very few things. And so doing that elimination can be very helpful. It's a cheap and easy way to feel into how your body feels when it has certain foods and when it doesn't. Do those symptoms start to clear up? Do you have more mobility? Does your brain work better? Is your bathroom habits better? So it can be very effective. However, to get the specificity of what foods are right or not right for you, we like to do some food sensitivity testing after we have addressed other issues. Check out some of my other videos on blood sugar balancing and low stomach acid, because low stomach acid can create intestinal permeability and allow for the wrong kinds of things to get through your digestive system. And having blood sugar dysregulation can also set up that hormonal cascade that's going to keep you in these symptoms, keep you eating the wrong foods for your body, and just wondering why the heck are you chronically ill all of the time? Are you with me? So when your immune system attacks these food particles, the proteins in these foods, it's attacking it like it's a germ, like it's a virus, a pathogen, and that also saps all of your energy. You are just feeling exhausted, even though you're eating otherwise healthy food, because it's causing inflammation at the cellular level. Now, food intolerances are much more common than most people realize. Millions of adults and children suffer from these allergic reactions to foods, and they don't realize it because the symptoms can be hard to diagnose. When you have that IgE allergic, that's an allergic reaction that you have pretty much right away after you eat an offending food. But the difference with a food sensitivity and an IgG response is that there are so many symptoms. It's not, I can't breathe, I have redness or swelling. It can run the gamut of symptoms. And here's the kicker, it doesn't necessarily happen right away. It can happen anywhere from 3 hours to 3 days after you have that food. And if you're having that food all of the time because it's one of your favorites, you would never suspect that it's a culprit. And then, of course, there's all of the other things that you're eating and doing. So, how in the world could you pinpoint that? Because it's your favorite. And the symptoms can vary person to person. Sometimes it's a hormonal imbalance. Sometimes it's brain fog. Sometimes it's joint pain. Sometimes it's a skin reaction, a rash. It can vary person to person. Now, there's another aspect to why certain foods will bother you is that one day you can feel absolutely fine, and the next day you feel bloated and tired. And that's because there's something called your body burden. And it could be that you had a little bit of potato, and potato is an issue for you, but you didn't know, but you didn't have anything else that is an issue. So you feel pretty good because your bucket is not very full, and your body, your immune system is prepared to handle the influx of pathogens, viruses. That's what it's designed to do. Neutralize them so that you don't get sick, so that you don't feel symptoms. Not a big deal. However, if you have multiple food sensitivities and you're having them all the time or in great amounts, couple that with stress, environmental toxins, lack of sleep, and then boom, you're suddenly having reactions, sometimes severe reactions, all day long, every day. And so this can also be tricky to pinpoint it to a specific food because we're thinking, I don't have a food sensitivity because I don't have bloating. I don't have poor digestion. But maybe you have headaches. Maybe you have fatigue. Maybe you feel depressed. Maybe you're gaining weight. And you might not realize that it's actually related to the food that you've been eating your entire life. And you're thinking, gosh, there's just something wrong with me. What is wrong with me? And it's only because there is an immune response that's happening in your body that can actually, in most cases, be repaired for the most part. So you've eliminated certain foods, gluten, dairy, soy, sugar, and you think, okay, great. I am eating an anti-inflammatory diet. Great. What happens when your immune system is still on high alert because you have autoimmune disease? So same thing. The alarms are going off when you're eating food. You likely have leaky gut. You likely have low stomach acid. These systems all work hand in hand. It all matters because they're all connected. So you could be eating a food and throwing a histamine response. Histamine is an inflammatory response. So let's say you have mast cell. Their mast cells are a type of white blood cell that produce histamine. On the cell membrane of mast cells are receptors for all of the different types of antibodies, IgG, IgA, IgE. And so when there are food sensitivities or food allergies, they're actually activating the receptors on these cells. So you're triggering a histamine response, which can then lead to hormonal imbalances and constipation, and also things like dysautonomia and POTS-like symptoms. And it circulates through your body. And so it all begins with your digestion. So you have malabsorption from the low stomach acid, you have a digestive issue, leads to chronic illness. Then you can have an infection. Then you might have antibiotics to fight that infection. Now you have gut dysbiosis leading to food sensitivities. You have a leaky gut, and it just goes around and around. Constantly throwing histamines, you're constantly having an immune response and wondering, God, I'm eating all the healthy food. So what do? You can easily do an elimination diet. You keep a food journal. What are all of the foods that you eat? What time do you eat them? How do you feel when you eat them? What state are you eating them in? And I don't mean where do you live? I mean, are you stressed? Are you eating standing in a hurry? Are you relaxed? Are you eating in the car? Are you eating a good meal? And then what are your bowel habits? So that also helps us to identify, oh yeah, like when I have dairy, I'm constipated or I'm loose or whatever it is. A pattern should emerge. And so you can see, oh, okay, I think I need to eliminate. You can identify which foods, maybe I should try eliminating them. And so take them out for 10 days, 2 weeks, a month. It's important to know that the antibodies that you are producing from these certain foods, there's a half-life at about 2 to 3 months. They will be reduced about 50%. So how long to keep them out really depends. Sometimes you will notice within a week to 10 days, yeah, I stopped eating garbanzo beans and I'm not bloated anymore. Sometimes it's that fast. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it takes 2 to 3 months, which is why we might say, let's pull it for 2 to 3 months. And then if you're feeling really good, we can add it back in and give it a try. This can be a time-consuming process. We also like to use lab work. And so there are certain tests, there's lots of at-home tests. I can't verify the accuracy of them. I think a lot of them they appear to be super comprehensive because you get like a 40-page report, but it's too much information. I find it too confusing, and I haven't found it to be too reliable in getting to, is there a genetic component here? Is there something that is telling us, okay, this is leaky gut and this is going to be temporary pulls, or is this a permanent thing? And so there are specific tests that I like to use, and I will introduce them to clients at a certain point after we do some more of this eliminating certain foods first, and then doing some gut cleanup. And then if our symptoms are still not resolving, we'll do a test. We'll see what are the specific IgG reactions that you are having. We will eliminate some forever, hopefully very few, and some just temporarily as we continue to do the cleanup. Then we reintroduce them, and hopefully your body is primed and ready to go and feeling so much better, because the idea is to not limit and restrict how many foods you can have in your diet for the long term, but to broaden your horizons and have more diversity and add more foods back in. So why do we eliminate certain foods? Because we want to stop the inflammatory response, stop the histamine response, stop the hormonal cascade so that all of your symptoms can subside. There's so much clarity. Now, what happens though if you have a food sensitivity test that comes back clean? That happens too. And you're like, I didn't have any food sensitivities, but I still have all of these symptoms. Well, that just means you're not having an IgG response. That doesn't mean that you're not having a histamine response. It doesn't mean that you're not having dysbiosis in your gut. And it doesn't mean that you're not having intestinal permeability. It just means that you don't have an IgG response. No one size fits all. Look, when you don't know that a food's intolerance or sensitivity is the root of some of your symptoms, some of your health issues, you might be blaming it on your age, you might be blaming it on slow metabolism or bad genetics, and that you just have to live with it. But I promise you, once you have identified and eliminated reactive foods from your life, you will be amazed at how quickly your energy and your health and vitality will increase. The weight that you've been holding onto may start to come off. That happened for me. And if you are struggling to hold on to weight, you will be able to maintain a healthy weight because your body, your digestive system is able to absorb the nutrients from your food and eliminate the waste products and the toxins and all of the metabolites that it no longer needs. Your body will thank you for helping it to return to its homeostasis, its natural state of radiant health. So if you are experiencing skin rashes, eczema, acne, psoriasis, gas and bloating, a slow metabolism, depression, headaches, fatigue, weight gain, digestive issues, cravings, or binge eating, consider that you might need to eliminate certain foods. And I can help you figure out which ones they are. A great place to start is by grabbing my chronic illness recovery guide, where we will walk you through a lot of these symptoms and what you can do to start shifting the terrain in your gut microbiome. This is a huge topic I work with all of the time, and most likely it's affecting your symptoms too. So let's discuss. I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope it resonated with you. I hope you got some ahas. If you need some more support around this, be sure to grab my chronic illness recovery guide linked below. It will help you to unpack some of this, shift the terrain in your gut microbiome. Of course, you can always reach out to me. I am here to support you. Do comment below. Please like and subscribe and share with somebody who needs to hear this information. If you are feeling stuck, there are things that we can do about it. And you can eat more food and not have to eliminate so many foods, but certain ones. Maybe, and maybe not. I hope this is helpful. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.